This measure aims to protect these crucial sectors while also safeguarding government revenue. But the second thing that we have done is under custom duty. On the custom side, Mr. Speaker, last year Kenya was granted a stay of application of the ESC Common External Tariff on certain paper products to apply a higher duty rate of 25 to 35% to support domestic packaging materials. However, this negatively impacted exporters such as the tea industry. To address this, Kenya did not request an extension of the stay of application of the ESC Common External Tariff on these paper products during this year's ESC pre-budget consultations, which I led in Arusha. And actually now, Mr. Speaker, I want to report that we have gone back to the ESC CET rates of 10% like any other country in the East African region. On question number 35B, what specific taxation measures is the ministry planning to implement in the financial year 25-26 to eliminate double taxation and other necessary taxes that overburden farmers and stakeholders in the tea industry? I wish to respond as follows. I would like to clarify that there is no double taxation in the tea subsector. As regards to specific tax measures for the coming financial year, we are currently reviewing submissions from the public, but we have already reviewed the submissions from the public anyway. I think this answer should be amended to read that we have already considered and have just read some of the steps that we are taking to reduce taxation, which would support the tea subsector. So I have mentioned that the various incentives. I don't want to repeat them again. I want to go straight to 35C, Mr. Speaker. Could the Cabinet Secretary outline the challenges faced in previous attempts to eliminate some of these taxes and levies on tea and explain action taken to address them? I wish to respond as follows. While there may be challenges affecting the tea subsector, Honorable Speaker, the national government continues to extend numerous incentives to the subsectors outlined above. From consultation with the regulations of the tea subsector, various actions by various government entities are ongoing to address the burden of the fees or levies in the tea subsector. Some of these measures include enactment of Tea Act 2020, which reduced the management fee payable by tea factories from 2.5% to 1.5%, thus saving tea farmers approximately 1 billion annually from management fee to Kenya Tea Development Authority. There is the ad valorem levy of 1% of the customs value of exported teas, which was scrapped in 2016. The agricultural produce cess of 1% of green leaf was also scrapped in 2016, saving quite significant amount. And since July 2016, the government replaced the levy scrapped with a government grant to fund operations of Tea Research Institute and Tea Board of Kenya, which support the tea industry development programs such as research in tea, trade promotion, and market development, amongst others. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, Kenya's tea industry remains a vital pillar of our economy, supporting millions of livelihoods and contributing significantly to national development. Through the bottom-up economic transformation agenda, the government is committed to strengthening the tea value chain to ensure sustainable growth. I thank you.
Honorable Senator James Morango, you may ask your 2 supplementary questions.
Asante sana, Mstahiki Spika. Mstahiki Spika, swali langu la kwanza zilikuwa kwa takwimu waziri aweze kupeana zile anda na kondi zote ambazo zinalipwa na wakulima majani chai. Mstahiki Spika, nimeona amejibu na kusema venye serikali inafanya ambayo ni sawa, lakini jibu langu hakujibu. Mstahiki Spika, kulingana na nakala niko nazo, mkulima majani chai kutoka mbunge la kitaifa, kutoka serikali kuu mpaka zile za ugatuzi, analipa anda na kulipa kondi tofauti 42. Na nilipokuwa mwenyekiti wa kamati ya ukulima, tulikuwa tumekaa chini na kuwa tumeelewana kwamba serikali itajaribu kupunguza hizi. Lakini kwa sababu ambazo sijaelewa, waziri hakuziweka wazi. Kwa hivyo ningetaka kusema, Mheshimiwa Spika, kwa swali hilo sikuridhika na majibu ambayo waziri amepeana siku ya leo. Kwa sababu, Mstahiki Spika, nilikuwa natarajia kama ni taasisi ama halmashauri ya kuokota kondi, inaokota kondi zaidi ya 5 hapa. Ukiangalia halmashauri ya Nema ina kondi inaokota. Ukiangalia kama ni taasisi yafa, kuna kondi inaokota. ili tuweze Mstahiki Spika, kujibu swali na kuendelea mbele, ningeomba waziri anapoenda anijibu hili swali ili niweze kusema na sema. Swali la pili, Mstahiki Spika, ni kwamba katika bunge la kitaifa kuna nakala ambazo waziri aliweza kupeleka pale mwaka huu, ambayo ilikuwa ina kodi mpya ambazo zilikuwa zinafaa pia kutozwa wakulima kahawa. Mstahiki Spika, hiyo sheria bado iko katika bunge la kitaifa na niko na nakala hapa ambayo iliwekwa katika gazeti la kiserikali. Ningetaka kuuliza waziri, kilimo cha msingi kitawekwa kodi mpaka lini? Kwa sababu nchi zinazoendelea kilimo cha msingi hakiwekangi kodi na anda ili mkulima aweze kunufaika na mazao yake. Asante sana Mstahiki Spika.
Honorable CS, you may proceed to respond.
Mr. Speaker, I tried to put together some of the taxes that are and levies that are put or charged on tea, right from the farming level. I put a paragraph. The tea processing, I put a paragraph. Marketing and distribution, I also put a paragraph. If the honorable member has any other levies that need not to be there, I think the best thing to do is to recommend for those levies to be removed. But as far as I'm concerned, I have enumerated what I am aware of are taxes and levies on tea. I think he has talked about some amendment that is in Parliament to put some charges on coffee. Maybe you, Honorable Speaker, with your permission, he can explain again. He can come up, repeat the question again.
Mstahiki Spika, ukinipa nafasi nitamwonyesha waziri.
Honorable CS, if you need time to acquaint yourself with that particular document, you may say so.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I'm trying to check because my understanding was that we were reducing those rates. And so it's just demonstrated to me the rates that are on the first schedule and the second schedule. My understanding is that those rates were coming down. But if they are going up, I may need to check and address that. But I am almost certain that the rates were higher than what is being provided. And so what we were trying to do is to reduce the rates to make coffee more competitive, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Edwin Sifuna.
Honorable Speaker, in line with a question by the Senator for Kirinyaga on measures to reduce double taxation, unnecessary taxes and overburdening of farmers and Kenyans in general, I would like the CS to address one question. Honorable Speaker, we have had the ministry, actually the CS himself, taking credit that this year's finance bill has no new taxes. But I know it's credit to the Gen Z who have struck the fear of God in this government. They will not attempt to bring new taxes. What are you doing about existing taxation, Cabinet Secretary, that you found, including the housing levy, the increase in pay and VAT on fuel that has seen the cost of taxes on a liter of petrol exceeding the cost of the product? I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Mofai.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mine is a supplementary question. CS Treasury. Honorable Speaker, this country has witnessed for decades some grievous disparities in distribution of environments across the country. Talk of roads, talk of water, talk of industries and so forth. So as the minister in charge of the National Granary, is there any written policy that is supposed to guide you on how you are supposed to distribute the national developments. And I'm asking this Honorable Speaker on behalf of very many Kenyans. You find some areas have been neglected for decades. Other areas are endowed with better roads, water, and so forth and so forth. Is there any existing policy, for that matter, that a Kenyan can quote maybe from Tharaka or from Northeastern or from any other part of this country where there are no such kind of developments? What is it? What criteria do you use to determine where you are supposed to put up roads, where you are supposed to put up water, and so forth and so forth? Is there any existing policy for that matter? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable CS, you may, if in a position to respond to that question, you may, because it is not related to the primary question. The Senate Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I have a question to the Cabinet Secretary in regards to his response on page 6. Unfortunately, Minister, I'll have to tell you that none of these items that you have listed was done to the tea farmers. This is a topic very close to my heart, and therefore I know every single intervention that is done. In the fiscal year that you're referring to, 2023-2024, you have quoted in your response, Mr. Minister, that there was provision of processing equipments to tea cooperatives. It is now in this financial year that there's an attempt to put 3.5 billion shillings to support aging tea factories. And even that, I'm not sure whether the National Assembly Budget Committee will maintain it. So I'll have the Minister check with his records and the people in the ministry whether any of this has been done, because to the best of my knowledge, there is no tea cooperative that was supported with this. With regards to establishment of this, what is calling Tea Value Addition Hub, construction is yet to begin of the common user facility that the government promised tea farmers in the country. And therefore it will be important for the Minister to let us know when construction of this common user facility will commence. There was a promise of 1 billion shillings to KTDA through its subsidiary Ketepa that this was going to be set up in Kericho. I do not know to this date, Mr. Speaker, when that facility will be available for farmers. The same can be said, Mr. Speaker, about Part C of his question, because it needs to be quantifiable. If the Minister had given us the specific figure of how much that export market development the government committed to, we'd appreciate, because it is one of the interventions that we seriously need. Lastly, Speaker, just a comment to the Minister, because, you know, we are representatives of people, and when there's an opportunity, I appreciate that transportation of tea to factories is VAT exempted. I do not understand, Mr. Minister, why in every finance bill, last year it had to be removed, and even in this year's proposal, transportation of sugarcane to factories is subject to VAT. I don't know why at Treasury they want to treat tea farmers and sugarcane farmers separately, yet they are all citizens of this republic. So while I appreciate what is done for tea farmers, I'd wish that the Treasury does the same for sugarcane farmers as well. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS, you have 3 minutes to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'll try to be fast. Yes, it is true that we have not made major changes in taxes that would disadvantage the taxpayer or individual taxpayers in terms of reducing their disposable income. And this was a commitment. Yes, I know Senator Sifuna is attributing it exclusively to Gen Z. Partly true, partly not true. Honorable Senator Sifuna very well knows my stand on taxes. Even before I joined the cabinet or the executive, I am one person who does not believe that higher taxes would lead to more revenue or higher tax rates, and that is my stand. I've spoken about it. Maybe we share that idea with Gen Zs, but so it cannot be exclusively the Gen Z's ideas. And I think the government is also sold into the idea that now, where we have reached, we cannot go further to reduce disposable income. On housing levy, I think there is a discussion around seeing how to restructure it, because again, it has serious benefits, in my view. Quite a number of projects are coming up, but at the same time, the individual employees, those with pay slips, have complaints. which you cannot ignore. So a lot of restructuring is going on, and I am sure that more pronouncements will come in due course. On the issue of payee, again, also we are looking, actually this financial year, when we were preparing the finance bill, we even did some simulation on how to reduce the pay as you earn. But what stopped us from implementing it with this finance bill, and I think we are going to consider it in the next finance bill, alongside the reduction of corporation tax or corporate tax from 30% to 28%, we considered reducing to 28%, was the failure by KRA to meet its revenue targets. And so we thought that as we carry along with the reforms at the KRA, we should not be doing too many things at the same time. First, let us see what the reforms at KRA in terms of automation and in terms of making it efficient is yielding to us. Then we can now move to the next step of reducing the tax rates to increase disposable income. But it is an idea that I support, Senator Sifuna. And that also goes to the heart of fuel levy or road maintenance levy. On distribution of development across the country, yes, Senator, it is true, Mr. Speaker, that over the years since independence, that we have not been very fair and objective as a country in terms of distributing or budgetary allocations to regions. And this is what has brought the tension that we have in the country, where people believe that for you to get development, then your people should be the ones in power. And I think devolution was meant to cure this, but it's still at the same time, still it has not been fully cured. We are trying, and it is not something that you are going to do in a day, to try as much as possible to be equitable in the distribution of resources. And I think the budget that we have produced addresses it to some extent, it has not fixed it, but addresses it. Take, for example, and I've given this example, that since independence, the children in Tana River have been eaten by crocodiles as they cross River Tana going to school. For bridges, one bridge costing just 100 million, yet you find many of us have tarmac roads up to our homes. It is not fair. So many of us have tarmac roads up to our homes. So many of us have piped water in their houses, even in rural areas. Yet Tana River, those children, for just 100 million, have been eaten by crocodile. That is, we cannot live in such a country of iniquity. So, inequitable resource distribution. Remember, for the first time, I want to say here, Dadaab constituency, for example, is going to see
30 seconds more.
The first tarmac road. And I can go on and on. And you see the first major road in northern Kenya being under construction since independence, all the way from Meru, Isiolo, going to Garissa, Wajir, all the way to Mandera. 740 kilometers being done in this government to enhance equity. Now, the majority leader talked about, I can just answer the majority leader by saying that I am going to follow through some of these initiatives, including the support to tea cooperatives, common user facility and all that. We have put some allocation in the budget. I hope they will not be taken away by the National Assembly. And then I will make sure that the monies are released, or the exchequer is released to support the tea sector. Thank you very much.
We now move to question number 048 by the Senator for Kisumu, Honorable Tom Ojenda. You may proceed to ask your question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Deputy Speaker.
Honorable Speaker, I'm very much aware that you are constrained by time, but you know, Mr. Speaker, when members are asking questions not related to the subject matter, as we come from areas that you know the best in the world, and under question to the CS, but when now we start digressing and we don't ask the prime questions, Mr. Speaker, then some of us will be lost. So, Mr. Speaker, can you give me a latitude just to ask you one question, so that
Honorable Senators, this is not for me to tell you. The standing orders are very clear. If you read Standing Order 51C, 7A and B, it's very clear that one, you need to ask one question, and that one question must be related to the primary question. Now, if you take to the floor and give us a speech, time doesn't stop running. For those who feel they have more questions to ask the CS on this particular subject, you can always post that question, and we'll invite the CS to come back. This should not be the end of responding to questions related to taxes on agricultural produce. Senator Tomo Jenda, proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, my question number 48 goes to the CS Treasury, CS John Mbadi. It's in three parts. Four parts. The first part, what immediate measures are being implemented by the government to address the extensive days in processing pension claims for retired civil servants of various levels, Mr. Speaker? And could the Cabinet Secretary provide a timeline for full digitization of pension records and transition to an end-to-end enterprise resource planning ERP system for a more streamlined process? That's part one of the question. Mr. Speaker, part two is on the processing of pension and the pervasive corruption claims. How is the ministry addressing the pervasive corruption and bribery within the pensions department, including claims of pension payment to non-existent or ghost pensioners? Part three, Mr. Speaker, what is being done to ensure that pension funds, which have persistently faced significant carryovers due to underfunding and liquidity challenges, are prioritized and allocated adequate funding in future budgets? And lastly, Mr. Speaker, part D, could the CS Treasury explain why any proposed regulatory reforms aimed at harmonizing outdated pension laws with contemporary digital financial management practices? Thank you, Mr. Speaker. These questions are born out of the delays in payment to pensioners. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable CS, you may proceed to respond. Now we have 15 minutes. Those 15 minutes to be utilized by the CS in responding to the question, and also to be utilized by honorable senators in asking supplementary questions.
Yeah.
Now, honorable CS, your response is fairly lengthy. Please paraphrase it to allow honorable senators time to interact with your response.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think I'll take 3 minutes just to go through the response. I'll not read it verbatim. Measures being implemented to address delays in pension processing and the transition to a digitized pension system. A number of steps we are taking for comprehensive review. One is timely submission of retirement notices. Employers are required to notify employees of retirement at least 1 year in advance, and to submit pension claims to the pension department 9 months before the official retirement age. Number 2, verification and documentation. Pension payments are contingent on complete and accurate documentation from retirees and employers. Incomplete submission, disputes, and litigation. Number 3 is processing at the pension department. Once a complete pension claim is received, the department processes it within 90 days. As stipulated in the National Treasury Citizens Service Delivery Charter. Then we have exchequer releases, which is also another challenge. Payment of pension gratuities depends on the availability of funds, which is influenced by national revenue inflows. So to improve efficiency, these are the measures that we have taken. One is deployment of pension officers to key MDS. So we have made sure that key MDS, like TSC and others, have pension officers. The National Treasury has deployed 18 pension officers to the Teacher Service Commission, for example, to expedite the verification and submission of the pension claims. Number 2, strict enforcement of early submission policies. MDAs are mandated to submit pension claims 9 months before an officer's retirement date. Number 3, system enhancements and technical support. That is, pensions management information system is undergoing significant upgrades to reduce manual interventions and improve efficiency, and also enhance data security. Review of the pension legal framework is also being undertaken to align with the emerging needs and improve the sustainability and efficiency of pension payments. National Retirement Benefits Policy, the Cabinet has approved the National Retirement Benefits Policy, which was approved on 3rd November 2023. This policy aims to harmonize retirement benefits, improve governance, and enhance sector growth. Public awareness and sensitization is also ongoing, is also being conducted, workshops being conducted, and sensitization programs on retirement. Recruitment of additional pension officers. To enhance processing capacity, the Treasury recruited additional pension officers in 2021, followed by 6 deputy directors in 2024, with specialized expertise in pension administration. Number 8 is the re-engineering of the pension management information system. The Treasury has onboarded a contractor to develop an enterprise resource planning solution which fully digitizes pension, and that will online claim submission will be done, self-service portal, automated approvals, integration with key government databases is also being addressed. So number B was the question. So the system is expected to be fully rolled out by 1st July 2025. This will help us now, like what I said before, that we will automatically transit those who are from the payroll to the pension payroll. Addressing corruption and bribery in pension administration. First, we are doing the following: strict pension verification procedures that it's being instituted, and this will help us reduce errors, fraudulent submissions, and unauthorized payments. Collaboration with financial institutions, like the case that Senator Eti Okech spoke to earlier. We are working with commercial banks and financial institutions to monitor dormant pension accounts, flag suspicious activity, and prevent unauthorized withdrawals. Open plan office layouts. Pension Department has restructured its office setup to enhance transparency and accountability, reducing opportunities for unethical conduct. Decentralization of pension services through Huduma centers, following retirees to access services without unnecessary bureaucracy or middlemen. Number 5 is integration with the National Death Registry. The Treasury is integrating biometric verification with the National Civil Registry to detect deceased pensioners in real time and prevent continued payments to non-existent beneficiaries. Biometric pension verification and e-pension system has also been implemented. Collaboration with the investigative agencies to deter cases of corruption. Now, number C is ensuring adequate budgetary allocation for pension payments. That was also asked. The Treasury is committed to ensuring that pension obligations are fully funded and liquidity challenges are minimized. And to achieve this, prioritization of pension payments. Pension payments are treated as a first charge obligation in the national budget, ensuring they are allocated sufficient funds. So it is in the CFS as a first charge. Addressing carryovers and cash flow constraints. Outstanding pension obligations due to cash flow challenges are prioritized in the subsequent budget cycle. Like 2023-24, we carried forward 23 billion. That is pension unpaid at the end of the financial year. That became the first charge and was paid in the 2024-25. But that has also put a strain on our 2024-25 finances. But now I'm happy to report that as we speak, in fact, between 30th of April and 21st of May, it would interest you, Mr. Speaker and the honorable members, that within those 3 weeks, we paid a total of 17.4 billion to the pensioners. And now we have a balance to pay of only 16.9. So compared to last year, when we carried over 23, up to date, and the year is not yet over, we have 16.9 billion to pay. And I think we are going to do much better than last year, although we should do 100%. Addressing carryovers, I've spoken to. Timely issuance of monthly pensions, again, that is one of the steps that we are taking. Regulatory framework for pension administration. the National Retirement Benefit Policy approved in November 23, together with the provisions of the Constitution, provide the foundation for modernizing and aligning pension laws with contemporary economic and demographic realities. In line with this, the government is implementing key regulatory reforms, which are as follows. The legal reforms, we have on the scope, the Task Force on Public Service Pensions Legal Framework, formally appointed on 17 September 2024, is tasked with reviewing existing pension laws and identifying gaps and hinder effective service delivery. Then there is legislative and regulatory amendments. The task force will propose comprehensive reforms to enhance efficiency. Then we are also doing benchmarking with international standards. The review will incorporate lessons from countries with well-established pension systems to ensure a robust and globally competitive pension framework. Number two, engineering the pension management information system. Again, I talked about this, eliminating paper-based processes, empowering pensioners with self-service capabilities, accelerating processing through automated approvals, enhancing security and accuracy through system integration. So the key here is automation. If you automate pension system, as we have indicated, then you will solve a number of these issues. And I've said from 1st July, we are onboarding the system, and it will enhance efficiency. Now, finally, I think is reforms to enhance financial sustainability, transition from defined benefits to defined contribution. To enhance sustainability, the defined benefit scheme cannot work, because again, with the life expectancy going up, and with meager or limited resources made available through budgetary provision, we can't sustain this. So the new system of public service superannuation scheme is going to help us a lot in addressing these pension challenges going forward, because we are going to have defined contribution system that is already rolled out, and this has been done out of actuarial calculations, and it is a better system. So in conclusion, Mr. Speaker, the National Treasury recognizes and values the contribution of retired civil servants, remains steadfast in its commitment to ensuring that their pension benefits are processed efficiently, transparently, and without undue delays. The measures outlined above are transformational and will ensure that Kenya's pensions administration is modernized, digitized, and aligned with international best practices. I submit.
Honorable Ojenda, you may now ask your two supplementary questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I did not declare that both the CS, myself, and Senator Sifuna in this broad-based government, but I will still ask the follow-up question, Mr. Speaker. But it is true. It is true. It is true. Mr. Speaker, let me proceed.
What is your point of order, Senator Sifuna?
I get extremely irritated every time people come here, and instead of addressing the matter at hand, it is irrelevant. What sort of contribution is that? And we have very limited time to engage with the CS. Could you stop the senator from engaging in sideshows?
Senator for Kisumu, the rule on irrelevance
Mr. Speaker,
applies.
I will move to the question.
Stick
the point
to the matter at hand, please.
Mr. Speaker, that's okay. Mr. Speaker, my supplementary question is on the point that the CS has addressed, the public superannuation pension scheme. Mr. CS, address us why there has been delay in processing pension funds for police officers and retired TSC officers under the public service superannuation pension scheme. And when will this be paid? Because there's a delay, a patent and palpable delay. But we are still in the same system, Mr. Speaker. Thank
Honorable CS, you may respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, Senator Ojenda. Yes, we have noticed, it has come to our knowledge that there is a delay in processing of pension entitlements to various civil servants under this public service superannuation scheme. And this has been occasioned by lack of policy guidelines, which we have processed, and we are almost concluding. And the moment that is done, then the pensions will be processed more or less like 2 weeks. So it is something that we are acting on. We are aware, we are alive to that challenge, and we are addressing it. Thank you.
Senator Kinyua.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just wanted to hear the comment of the Cabinet Secretary concerning very serious issue raised by the Auditor General on the issue of NSSF. Thank you.
Senator Abbas.
Honorable Speaker. My supplementary question that on the CS, in relation to delays of pensions. In the past, we used to have these treasuries where the aged pensioners used to access their money and through the boss banks. But of late, they've been told to go to banks. And some of these guys don't even have enough money to pay for the rate for the banks. So what measures are you placing in place so that at least these senior citizens can be able to access their money easily? Is there a plan for you to develop? One other thing is, why don't you have some treasury, pension offices in some part of the regions? So at least instead of farmers, pensioners coming up to here, to Nairobi and having problems in this place, they can be able to take money from the regional places.
Senator Abbas, you are entitled under standing orders to ask only one.
So,
No. Senator Karungo Thangwa, Senator Mudama, Honorable CS, you may proceed to respond.
On the question that was asked, is it really working? It's much better. Now, on the question by Senator Kinyua on the NSSF, I guess this is a question relating to the release by Auditor General or the Office of the Auditor General regarding the investment by NSSF on some government bonds, and that has some challenges. First, I wish to state that pension funds are of some kind of independence in terms of managing the pension investment, and they have they recruit custodians and fund managers to do that and advise them on how to invest, where to invest. So if there are mistakes that they committed in terms of investment, then there is a process that would deal with that. As the Auditor General has flagged it out, and already I am aware that a parliamentary committee is on this matter. I would only wait for the parliamentary committee to conclude its work, make recommendations, that is Public Investment Committee of the National Assembly, I think, make its recommendations, and then action can be taken, especially if there is any action regarding policy direction that the National Treasury needs to put in place to deter any future involvement. Because again, in terms of actions for someone who has deliberately, if there is any deliberate act, then that we have relevant departments and offices dealing with that. On the issue of pension officers being deployed, we are trying to move away and make this work, this whole question of managing pension be automated. And so we are having a self-service portal we are putting in place that they don't have to move. The pensioners don't even have to move anywhere. Even at the comfort of their homes, they can access almost all the services that they need without going, including if they have a system of accessing their banks. They would just file documents and start withdrawing money to their phones from the bank, and it becomes very easy. And we have also put in place services at Huduma centers to support this. Thank you. I think that's what I would say on this. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. We shall now move to question number 79 by the Honorable Senator Karen Nyambo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would want to ask this question on behalf of Senator Karen Nyamu. The questions are as follows. Question number 079. 1, could the Cabinet Secretary state the medium-term strategy to reduce the fiscal deficit from 4.9% to a sustainable level? Number 2, what measures is the ministry undertaking to support counties, noting that 2025 budget policy statement project GDP growth at 5.3% and stable inflation, yet county governments face a contracting fiscal space and rising costs? 3, what interventions is the ministry implementing to address the pending bills crisis in the county governments, particularly in Nairobi County, where pending bills have accumulated to approximately Kenya shillings 121 billion, and what mechanisms are being enforced to ensure timely settlement for supplier debts and prevent further accumulation? 4, how does the National Treasury plan to manage increased domestic borrowing by the government without crowding out private sector credit and stifling economic growth in light of constrained external financing and the lapse of the International Monetary Fund, Extended Fund Facility, and extended Credit Facility, and program signed in April 2021? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Now, Honorable CS, we have 15 minutes within which to respond and also to allow supplementary questions from Honorable Senators. So kindly paraphrase. We already have your substantive response. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in responding to this question, although this is an area that I become sometimes very passionate, but I will not go overboard. So to effectively manage the prevailing fiscal deficit in Kenya, the government, through the National Treasury, is adopting and has adopted a multi-pronged approach with notable focus on both revenue generation and expenditure control. So you can call it revenue generation and expenditure or fiscal consolidation. So there are several steps or approaches to this. Number 1, strengthening financial controls. Number 2, diversifying borrowing sources. Number 3, improving debt repayment planning. And number 4, promoting efficient resource allocation. Those are the steps that we are taking to ensure that we manage, or rather, we reduce the fiscal deficit to manage the debt sustainability. So, for example, in this financial year that we are going to 25-26, we plan to have a budget deficit of about 4.5%, not 4.3 as indicated in the document. We have revised it to 4.5% compared to 4.9, which of this current financial year. Actually, it's going to be about 5.1% this financial year. So we are reducing the budget deficit. The best way to address or enhance or ensure debt sustainability is to persistently and consistently reduce budget deficit year by year. I want to report, Mr. Speaker, that in 2020-2021, the budget deficit was 8.3. 21-22, that came down to 6.2% of GDP. 22-23, it came down to 5.6. 23-24, you see we are coming down. We came down to 5.3, and now we are at 5.1. Then we want to move to 4.5 continuously, and in the medium term, we'll be at 2.7. So that is what the reduction of budget deficit will help us on debt sustainability. But then that can only be realized through fiscal consolidation. Fiscal consolidation here simply means, one, you enhance revenue collection. And that is why we are working on Kenya Revenue Authority, automating their processes and procedures to make sure that we enhance efficiency and effectiveness of that institution. But also, we are working on the other side of managing expenditure. And managing expenditure and managing prudence in use of public funds. Mr. Speaker, I want to report here that one step that we have taken to ensure that our revenues are realistic, because that is one area that has resulted over the years in over budgeting, which has given us high fiscal deficit. We revised 2025-26 revenue estimates down from 3 trillion and 18 billion to 2 trillion 757 billion. For the first time, Mr. Speaker, I'll report to you that the National Treasury's estimate of ordinary revenue is below the estimate by Parliamentary Budget Office. For the first time. It has always been that the Treasury estimates are higher. So we are doing that to make sure that we are realistic. So on the revenue side, let me brush over or move to expenditure. Some of the things that we are doing to ensure that we cut on expenditure. And again, I want to report here that we reduced our expenditure based on the BPS that was approved by 120 billion just to live within our means. So we are taking steps to actualize fiscal sustainability. The government will sustain efforts to strengthen accountability, transparency, and a revenue mobilization path by the medium-term revenue strategy. We are also strengthening expenditure control and improving efficiency and effectiveness in public spending. That is why on 7th of April, I officiated the launch of e-procurement system to maximize value for money and increase transparency in procurement. From 1st of July, all government procurements will be done through e-procurement platform, and no one else will be given excuse. Over 3,000 MDAs will all be onboarded, and the onboarding is going on, and we are even training the suppliers, the contractors on the use of this system. We have also implemented zero-based budgeting approach for this financial year for the first time. We have also operationalizing the assets and inventory management modules in our IFMIS for all MDAs. In order not to crowd out the private sector and the provision of public services, the government is scaling up the use of public-private partnership framework for commercially viable projects. A number of projects are lined up for PPP. Rironi Mau Summit is one case. We are also thinking and working and moving forward with SGR that will largely be on PPP. The Galana Kulalu project is there, one of the PPP projects. A number of projects under the energy sector, especially the energy transmission, are also being implemented under the PPP system. The government is also piloting a new human resource management system, which will be rolled out to all national government ministries and departments, as well as all county governments, in order to improve the management of the wage bill, including statutory payroll deductions. In view of the constrained fiscal environment, prioritization during resource allocation will be critical in ensuring low priority expenditure are dropped or deferred to give way to high priority service delivery programs. So ministries, MDAs are therefore required to reevaluate all the existing or planned activities, projects and programs to be funded in the financial year of 25-26. And that we did. Now strategies, Mr. Speaker, I could go on and on in terms of talking about managing our debt, because it is a very wide topic, but I think those are some of the salient features of what we are implementing. On strategies to manage county government funding constraints, first, there is a reason for funding constraints. One is the low ordinary revenue collections over the years. And Honorable Speaker, it is important to note that over the period 2016-2017 to 2024-25, actual ordinary revenue has always been below target, except for 2021-22. and hence such shortfalls in actual ordinary revenue collections have led to constraints in county government's funding. This is real, Mr. Speaker, because we budget, but the resources become a challenge when we don't meet the revenue targets. The need to finance mandatory expenditures under Article 203 of the Constitution. The government has an inevitable need to finance mandatory expenditures under Article 203 of the Constitution. Such expenditures relate to national interest, programs such as the security modernization, strategic interventions. This leads to fiscal deficit in financing other major national government functions, which has always occasioned additional borrowing, which continues to distort our fiscal framework. And again, I want to say that the national government continues to solely bear shortfalls in revenue in any given financial year, as has always been demonstrated. There is also the high cost of public debt that is contributing largely. This is largely due to a relatively stable but still high exchange rate to the dollar, as well as high interest rates in the domestic markets. Public debt services in 25-26 will account for about 52% of ordinary revenue, which is higher than the average of 41% over the period from 2017 to 2024-25. So we are going up in terms of percentage of our ordinary revenue that goes towards settling the public debt or servicing public debt. What strategies is the ministry taking to manage county government's funding constraints? The national government, through National Treasury, is managing funding constraints to county government using a variety of strategies. By utilizing these strategies in a comprehensive and coordinated manner, the National Treasury has therefore been able to effectively manage funding for county governments and support their efforts to deliver essential services and promote development despite the prevailing fiscal constraints due to expenditure pressures and public debt commitments as shown above. The strategies enumerated below aim to ensure that county governments have the financial resources they need to fulfill and deliver services to Kenyan citizens. One is the conditional and unconditional allocations to counties. We have continued to give additional allocations to counties which are earmarked for specific programs or projects as defined by the central government. They provide targeted funding for special policy goals or initiatives, and these additional allocations can ensure that certain areas are prioritized and that funding is allocated in a way that aligns with the national priorities. However, the county government's additional allocations bill has always been passed by Parliament late towards the close of financial year, thereby denying counties additional funding for programs under national priorities such as county aggregated and industrial parks program and community health promoters. We currently have a problem even absorbing this year's budget, county additional allocations, Mr. Speaker, because of how long it took between the two houses to agree. So promoting local revenue generation in the form of own source revenue, again here the National Treasury has been empowering county governments to generate their own revenue through taxation and other means. This is meant to increase the autonomy and fiscal sustainability of county governments to alleviate the risks associated with over-reliance on equitable share to find essential services. The National Treasury has finalized the development and piloting of own-source revenue forecasting tools for counties to help them expanding their revenue bases, thus allowing them to implement realistic charges, levies, and fees geared towards raising more revenues. It is expected that this own-source revenue system generation will strengthen county government's autonomy and promote fiscal sustainability. Number 3 is promoting transparency and accountable financial management. The National Treasury is committed to ensuring that funding in counties is used effectively and efficiently so that county governments are accountable for the use of public funds. The National Treasury therefore urges counties to adhere to the clear guidelines for the allocation and use of funds through promoting transparency by making financial information readily available to the public as in the norm at the National Treasury. And I hope this House will help in realizing this. Implementing strong monitoring and evaluation systems, that is also something else. And finally, building partnerships with county governments. The National Treasury and Economic Planning has continued to foster collaboration between the national government and county governments to improve service delivery and promote development. The Office of the Cabinet Secretary continues to engage in regular dialogue with the Council of Governors through regular meetings and forums to discuss policy issues and share best practice. Some of these forums are even informal, Mr. Speaker. And we have a very good working relationship with the Council of Governors led by the Chair, who is also my professional colleague. Further, the National Treasury continues to supporting collaborative project financing through joint projects between the national governments, ministries, departments and agencies and county government, such as KIPES and CHPs, among others. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, allow me to thank you once again for this opportunity to engage with you together with the honorable members. Thank you very much.
Senator Chute.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Very quick questions. I wanted to know from the CS what interventions is the ministry implementing in regards to pending bills, where you will find one pending bill that has been passed by the county assembly, and then the governor has his own list. And this comes to COB, and the governor's list will be paid. The one that has been passed by the county assembly is yet to be paid. Number two is on the issue of diversion of funds. When a contractor or a supplier is supposed to be paid by the county government, and the money is requisitioned from COB, and at the end of the day, that money goes to another contractor, different contractor, not the contractor or supplier who was requisitioned for. So how is the ministry going to deal with this matter? Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable CS.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think the two questions are linked together. They're very related, where you find that the requisition is made through the normal system, through the control of budget, and yet the payment is given or paid to someone else or another contractor or to pay another bill. This is a problem that is very pronounced in counties from what I gather. And as we are we are working on a tool, a system that will be used by both the national government and the county governments to ensure that the bill, what has been approved, is actually what is paid for. And also to ensure that bills are prioritized in terms of first in, first out. Because again, there's a lot of favoritism and discretion by governors. So that, by decision makers at the counties and at the national government level. But even as we do that, I think the control of budget has capacity and tool. What we need the controller of budget to exercise or do is to make sure that their approval is respected, so that they rein on the county governments. The Auditor General can also be taking the approvals from the controller of budget and use it to audit the actual expenditure. And then I also want to ask this Honorable House, the Senate, that this is also an area where you can help. I know you have helped before, but I think you can help more by ensuring that it's not even micromanaging, by ensuring that what has been approved is what is actually paid. Because these cases are too much. They are reported, we live in this country, we hear about them, and nothing seems to be happening to stop this, which I call actually illegal diversion of funds. Because if controller of budget has approved money to be spent on a particular manner, that is how it should be spent. It should not be spent in a different manner at all. So we, as National Treasury, are working on a system that would ensure that payments are made in line with the approval. As that is being done, I think we can still use the current system and supervision to help deal with some of these challenges.
Senator Sotsi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me start by congratulating the CS for the good work he's doing at the ministry, at the Treasury. Indeed, you are the expert that we have been talking about. I have two quick questions, Mr. Speaker. One is that the CS has talked about constraints in disbursing monies to the counties. And I would like to make reference to the disbursement schedule we passed last week to disburse money under additional allocation to the counties. Maybe you can elaborate to this House what constraints you are facing. Because I spoke to my governor yesterday, and he told me that though we passed some monies, that money has not hit the account. Instead, there was a communication from the National Treasury about the further delay.
Go straight to the question, Honorable Sotsi.
So what are these constraints the ministry is facing, particularly in disbursing the money under additional allocation that we passed the disbursement schedule last week? Number two.
Honorable Gosotsi.
Yes.
Understanding Order 51C 7B, you are entitled to ask only one supplementary question,
okay.
which you have.
Very well,
Honorable
Mr.
CS, proceed to respond.
The constraints generally would be on cash flow challenges, especially where the funding is from GOK, and more particularly where we fail to meet the revenue targets by KRA. And I will tell you that we have so much demand. At times there are some months which are very bad, especially the months where we are paying loans. We are repaying loans. We usually have challenges in the month of January, February, very serious challenges in the month of May, and then July. Those are months where we repay the Chinese loan on SGR, and those are the same months like January where we pay capitation to schools, and the capitation to schools is at times almost 50 billion. And remember, every month we pay 80 billion salaries. So if you add 80 billion, you add to say 40 billion, that's already 120, and you add that to debt repayments, we sometimes come to 50, 60, you're already beyond 200. And revenue collection in a month is averaging around 200 billion. Now that then puts a problem to funding counties, puts a problem to funding other development expenditure. But I will tell you, we still work very hard to make sure that counties get priority in terms of funding. And sometimes we look at even the balances of counties and release some money. When we have limited resources, release some funds to some counties which have low balances. Those who still have high balances, we again tell them when they spend, we give. As we speak, we have paid up to end of April all the monies to all counties. But we have May still outstanding. And of course we have June. And we have that constraint. Honorable Speaker, this year particularly, I think has been a terrible year. Apart from the fact that we had that economic shutdown, and I want honorable members to listen to me on this. Apart from the economic shutdown that we had for almost 2-3 months.
You have 1 minute, Honorable CS, to...
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. If you could add me 2 so that I could do 3, just to explain this bit. The economic shutdown led to slowed economic growth in the country and failed meeting of our targets in terms of revenue collection. But we also did not conclude with IMF the 9th review. So we lost $765 million going to budgetary support. As we speak, the World Bank's funding, or BOP, seems to be going to July. Because one of the things is that some of the legislations that were precedent to the release of these funds, Mr. Speaker, delayed in the legislative process. The conflict of interest bill was a key bill for World Bank to give us the funding. And when it was unlocked, there was no time to take our approval to the board. Now you see we are going to June 30th with 97 billion whole that I did not prepare for as Cabinet Secretary. Now, these are challenges, Mr. Speaker, which inhibit our release of funds. Even when sometimes National Assembly puts pressure on me on CDF, I don't even know what to do because the resources are constrained and we have to balance needs. Do you pay salary or you release money to CDF and release money to counties? Do you pay salaries or you stop paying salaries? Those are questions that you have to ask. You have debts to pay. You must pay those debts. If you default, the implication for our economy is it's dire. Remember, as I conclude, Mr. Speaker, the reason why we have tried very hard to make sure that we meet our obligations. There were 6 countries that were mentioned in 2021 by IMF as candidates for restructuring, as candidates for default. 6, 5 have defaulted. It's only Kenya which has survived. Angola has defaulted, Ethiopia has defaulted, Ghana has defaulted, Chad has defaulted, and Zambia has defaulted. 5 economies out of 6, only Kenya has survived. I would want to urge and request this Honorable House to help support me, support the government, support my ministry, so that we don't fall to where these our contemporaries are fallen. And I am confident we are not going to fall there. That is why sometimes you see some challenges, but we'll outlive these challenges, Mr. Speaker, with your cooperation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Senators. I'm afraid we may have to terminate our interrogation and interaction with the CS at that. Honorable CS, thank you so much. You are now free to leave. Clerk, you may usher the CS in charge of mining. Now, Honorable Senators, this morning we lost 30 minutes waiting for quorum. 30 minutes that we would have otherwise utilized to interact with the CS Treasury. And therefore, I urge you, we need not ring the bell for us to get a quorum. If he can be able and if he can purpose to be in the chamber by 9:30, then we'll have more time to interact with honorable CSs.
Niko vizuri.
Clerk, do we have the CS in charge of mining? Honorable CS, welcome to the Senate. You are here today to respond to two questions.